Hello there. I'm glad you stopped by. Come and sit with me for a little bit. I recently was having lunch and I had something occur to me. God often does downloads, and I want to ask you the question He asked me. What operating system are you running on? Now, I'm not talking about your phone. I'm not talking about your computer. I'm talking about you. What is your operating system? Your operating system affects your business, your ministry, your leadership, your family, your relationships. It affects every part of your life. And we can either be living vibrantly or a little dim. And here's what I noticed about me and the leaders that I work with is that we don't actually choose the operating system that we're running on. We actually inherited it from our family, from survival seasons, from proving ourselves in places we weren't really acknowledged. And living in that kind of OS is really exhausting and depleting. But it's not required for leadership. And somehow we think that exhaustion should be or has been, because of our experience, part of being a leader. I'll never quite forget when I discovered some of what was going on in my hidden operating system. And I was having a conversation with another leader, and I deeply respected them, but somehow I actually felt a little bit intimidated. That comparison thing. And I caught myself mentally running through a checklist. Am I saying the right things? Do I look okay? Do I sound smart enough? Is she going to respect me? And the Holy Spirit like interrupted those thoughts and said, Donna, what's your operating system when you're thinking those things? Is it you need to perform? Perform. Do we need to prove? Do we need to manage outcomes? And I was running on this OS in rooms and places where I felt like I needed to earn my way, earn my seat. And that kind of belief is exhausting, but it also, I already belonged in those rooms. And I began to realize I didn't need another strategy. I didn't need another shiny object. I needed to understand what was running beneath all of those thoughts and how to change it. So when you wake up in the morning, let's think about this. You pick up your phone and you look at your calendar and you look at all your to-do list, and what's the feeling that arises? Is it giggly joy? Probably not. Let's talk about three different possible OSs, operating systems, that you may be running on and see where you find yourself. So the first is I'm performing, I'm proving, and I'm controlling. And it sounds like this. If I just get this right, then I can rest. There's mental rehearsals before every meeting, but it isn't for good. It's planning for what could go wrong. And there is monitoring how people respond instead of just trusting who you are. Number two, the survive, strive, manage operating system. And it sounds like I can't let anything drop, feeling responsible for everybody's emotions, and an exhaustion you can't actually name. It's no matter how much you rest, there's pressure. And the third one I want to mention is platform position build. And it can sound like when I reach this level, I'll have it. I'll have arrived. I'll have peace. Or constantly comparing your pace to someone else's. That comparison thing. And when you do achieve, which you have, you never arrive. There's always more. There's always, I'm not quite there yet. It's always, and there's no celebration, it's continually. That's not who you really are. And those shouldn't be your operating system. But operating systems like this determine what you can see, they determine what you can access, and they determine what you believe is possible. So if you're running on their perform, prove, control, you never really rest, because rest isn't part of that one. It's not a feature in that system. If you're running on the survive, strive, manage, you're never really at peace. This peace isn't available in this one. You can have all the vision. You can have all the strategies in the world, but if your internal operating system has never been upgraded, or it's been upgraded, but it's time for another one, you will continue to hit the same ceiling, just in a different room. I was reading recently about Moses and the Israelites, and they were in the middle of a battle, and the Israelites were fighting. And as long as Moses held up his arms and the staff of God, they would win. And when his hands dropped, because how long can you hold your hands above your head? When his hands dropped, they would begin to lose. Do you think that God was making the battle dependent upon how long Moses could hold his hands up? That seems quite exhausting and not really fair, right? What if it is this? That Moses wasn't performing. He was positioning his banner. What he was holding up was the staff of God over the situation. He wasn't managing the battle. He was carrying the banner of God's authority. He raised that banner in the battle, not before it and not after it. He was in it. So shifts can happen in the situation, not in a vacuum. You don't get to pause your whole life to figure out your operating system, right? You can upgrade it. You can choose to upgrade it while life is moving and it isn't adding one more thing. I remember one story of a leader who had built something absolutely beautiful and everyone loved and said it was just amazing. And on the outside, everything looked great. And she came to me and she said, Donna, I really don't know how much longer I can do this. Because when we began to look underneath, she'd been running on a survival operating system for a very long period of time. Even while her ministry grew, her capacity had expanded for reach, but her internal operating system was still in that fight, flight feeling. We didn't really change what she was doing. We upgraded how she was doing it. And about 6 weeks later, she texted me and said, Donna, I can't believe it. I never knew my life could be like this. But it is possible to operate in peace and grow. It is possible to accomplish things and make a difference from a place of grace and ease. It is possible. So let me ask you again, which one are you operating on? Which one resonates the most with you? Do you feel like no matter how much you accomplish, it's never quite enough? Are you leading successfully but secretly exhausted? You know God has more for you, but you can't access it from where you are. You're ready to stop managing outcomes and start stewarding His presence. Because in truth, you don't need more strategies. You need to find out how to upgrade, which is why I created my Grace Framework Masterclass, and it is called Does Success Have to Be Hard? I'm not teaching you how to do more. You don't need one more thing. I'm teaching you how to operate from alignment instead of exhaustion. Not adding another system on top of what you're already doing, but upgrading. So on March the 10th at 7 p.m. Eastern, Does Success Have to Be Hard is coming. It is complimentary. It is experiential. It's not a training. It's not just more information. It's a chance to operate differently. You cannot reign from an operating system built for survival. You were created to reign, not from pressure, but from shalom or peace. So join me at Does Success Have to Be Hard? Invite a friend, share this with someone you love. This is Donna Tashton, your host and founder of Vibrant Living International. Say yes to grace. The link is below. Love to see you there.